The protesters have moved, but the issues in Thailand are not budging. Joining us now to discuss the political turmoil is Gregory Poling. He's a fellow in Southeast Asia Studies and the Pacific Partners Initiative at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Thanks so much for joining us. You know, Yingluck Shinawatra is no longer the prime minister, which is what a lot of these protesters have been asking for months. But, you know, they're still out there. So can you explain for our international audience why her removal doesn't solve anything?
Getting rid of Yingluck was always a necessary but not sufficient goal of the protesters. They want to scrub the system of her older brother, former Prime Minister Thaksin's influence entirely. That means ousting her, ousting all of his cronies who might still be in government, essentially ousting the entire structure of populist politics that he created while in office. So they don't just need to get rid of her, they now need to get rid of the remaining members of the cabinet who have stepped up to lead the caretaker government, and hopefully replace the entire structure with some kind of appointed council as they've been calling for.
Well, tell us a little bit more about this interim prime minister. Is he a viable candidate to be in place long term? Because again, you're hearing he's being termed illegitimate as well. So what's the answer here?
Well, he is not necessarily illegitimate, but he has not been elected to this position. So he does lack the legitimacy to replace Yingluck. At best, he can hold out until July 20th elections, if they can make it that far. He is considered very close to Thaksin, so he is almost as toxic to the protesters as Yingluck was.
Who's the next person who should be in place? Who are they looking for? Who is in reality, who has the best chance?
Realistically, I'm not sure that there is any figure acceptable to both sides anymore. I don't think either side has put forward a name that could be acceptable to the other side, which is worrisome because it suggests that even if the protesters get what they want, or if we make it to July 20th elections, it's still not going to be enough. It'll just be one more step in this continuing debacle.
So how long can this all take? Is it possible for this country's government to get back in order?
I believe it is possible for this government to limp along if it can make it to July 20th. It's going to require an awful lot of things to line up correctly. But the light at the end of the tunnel is getting smaller and smaller by the day.
We had talked a few months ago. Are you surprised that this has gone on as long as it has?
Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure when you said it last time, I said I wouldn't be surprised to see this stretch on for months because the sides have taken this zero-sum approach to which it is growing increasingly impossible to see who can act as a mediator. What kind of compromise would be acceptable? The only figure who usually stepped in these times was either the military, who has said they absolutely are not going to do it. They tried it in 2006. They don't want to govern. They don't want the international opprobrium again. Or the king, who is unfortunately ailing and has made it clear that he's not stepping in at this point.
We'll have to wait till July, but it doesn't sound like there will be any answers by then. Gregory Poling, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.